I am Jarvis, your storyteller. Welcome to the Science Fiction Exploration. If you like the story, please subscribe to our channel. The skies above London had never been clearer. Admiral Victor Nguyen stood on the observation deck of the Earth Defense Command headquarters, gazing at the gleaming spires that had risen from the rubble of the old city. 20 years ago, the Thames flood had nearly destroyed the ancient metropolis, drowning centuries of history beneath brackish water and debris. Now it stood as humanity's crowning achievement, a testament to their resilience, unity, and technological renaissance. "Beautiful view, isn't it?" asked Commodore Hiroshi Tanaka, joining him at the railing. Victor nodded. "Sometimes I still can't believe we pulled through." "The great catastrophes changed everything," Hiroshi replied, his eyes reflecting the golden sunset. "Nothing unites a species like facing extinction together." The great catastrophes, that's what historians had dubbed the cascade of disasters that had nearly wiped humanity from existence. Rising seas, devastating storms, pandemics, and resource wars had pushed civilization to the brink. But from that chaos had emerged an unexpected gift: unity. Nations had dissolved their boundaries, pooling resources and knowledge in ways previously unimaginable. Victor's comm unit buzzed, interrupting his reflection. "Admiral, we've detected unusual energy signatures at the edge of the solar system. Readings suggest multiple large vessels decelerating from FTL." His expression hardened. "Meet me in the command center. Alert all Earth Defense Fleet vessels to standby status." The command center hummed with controlled urgency as Victor entered. A massive holographic display dominated the center of the room, showing a three-dimensional map of the solar system. At its edge, 12 red dots had appeared, moving in perfect formation toward Earth. "Classification?" Victor demanded. "Unknown, sir," replied Lieutenant Olivia Jackson, her fingers dancing across her console. "But size and energy output suggest capital-class warships, nothing we've ever encountered before." "First contact protocol?" asked Hiroshi. Victor's face remained impassive. "Initiate Protocol Omega. Deploy the fleet in defensive formation. Attempt communication on all frequencies, but have Phoenix Squadron ready to launch at my command." The next 6 hours passed in tense preparation. Earth's orbital defense platforms, massive installations equipped with graviton beam arrays and quantum disruptors, powered up for the first time since their installation. The Earth Defense Fleet's carriers, destroyers, and frigates moved into position, their hulls gleaming in the sunlight, adorned with the unified Earth insignia. "Admiral," called Lieutenant Jackson, "the vessels have crossed Saturn's orbit. They're accelerating." Victor narrowed his eyes. Still no response to our hails. "None, sir." "Show me." The holographic display zoomed in, revealing the approaching vessels. Their design was unlike anything human engineers had ever conceived. Organic yet mechanical, with sweeping, blade-like protrusions and hulls that seemed to shimmer with an inner light. "Beautiful," whispered Dr. Marcus Way, the chief xenotechnologist. "Their drive signatures suggest manipulation of dark energy on a scale we've only theorized." "Their weapon systems are powering up, Admiral," interrupted Lieutenant Jackson, her voice tightening. "Multiple targeting systems activated." Victor's decision was immediate. "Defensive positions, all ships shields at maximum, do not fire unless fired upon." The alien fleet spread out in a classic pincer formation as they approached Mars orbit. Then, without warning or ultimatum, they opened fire. Brilliant beams of purple-white energy lanced across space, aimed directly at Earth's orbital installations. But what happened next was not what the alien vessels anticipated. The energy beams struck invisible barriers 50,000 kilometers from Earth's atmosphere, rippling and dissipating against quantum shield technology that humanity had developed during their technological renaissance. "Shields holding at 92%, reported Lieutenant Jackson, unable to hide the triumph in her voice. "Return fire," ordered Victor calmly. "Targeting solutions on the lead vessels only. Let's show them what humanity can do." Earth's response was devastating. The orbital platforms unleashed graviton beams that bent spacetime itself around the alien vessels, creating localized gravity wells that stressed their hull integrity. Simultaneously, the fleet's destroyers launched swarms of autonomous attack drones, small, agile crafts guided by advanced AI systems that human engineers had perfected over the past decade. On the bridge of the alien flagship, Zaravek, High Commander of the Hegemony's Third Expansion Fleet, stared in disbelief at the tactical display. "Impossible," she hissed, her scaled skin flushing dark purple with rage. "Their technology is far beyond what our scouts reported. How could we have been so wrong?" "High Commander," her second-in-command, Krelter, replied hesitantly. "Our intelligence suggested a pre-stellar civilization barely recovering from ecological collapse. These defenses are at least level 7 technology." Zaravek slammed her clawed hand against the command console. "The hegemony does not tolerate failure. Intensify the attack. Deploy the void cutters." The alien fleet responded by launching swarms of smaller craft, sleek, predatory vessels that moved with astonishing speed, attempting to breach the gaps in Earth's defensive screen. The battle expanded across the inner solar system, turning the void between Earth and Mars into a theater of war. "They're deploying fighter craft," reported Hiroshi. "Our point defense systems are engaging, but there are thousands of them." Victor nodded. "Launch Phoenix and Valkyrie squadrons, full combat protocol, and bring the Prometheus online." Throughout the command center, heads turned at that last order. The Prometheus was humanity's most closely guarded secret, a massive orbital weapon platform built inside the moon, capable of channeling energy drawn directly from artificially generated quantum singularities. "Prometheus charging, Admiral," confirmed Dr. Wei. 90 seconds to full capacity." The battle in space intensified. Human fighters engaged the alien void cutters in swirling dogfights that danced between the larger capital ships. The aliens fought with precision and discipline, but the human pilots displayed a creativity and unpredictability that seemed to confound their opponents. "They're trying to establish a beachhead in Earth orbit," Hiroshi observed, studying the tactical display. "Classic invasion pattern." Victor nodded grimly. "Not on my watch." Status of the Prometheus: "Ready, admirals. Target the enemy flagship. Minimal yield. I want to send a message, not destroy them completely." The surface of the moon seemed to shimmer as concealed panels slid open, revealing the massive emitter array of the Prometheus weapon. A beam of concentrated energy, appearing almost solid in its intensity, lanced across space and struck the alien flagship with surgical precision. Aboard the Hegemony vessel, Zaravek was thrown from her command platform as systems overloaded and secondary explosions ripped through the ship's central core. "Stabilize, reroute power," she screamed over the blaring alarms. "How did they bypass our shields?" Krelter worked frantically at his console. "Unknown, High Commander. Our shields registered no impact. The beam somehow phased directly through them." "Impossible," Zaravek snarled. "The Hegemony possesses the most advanced technology in the known galaxy." "High Commander," interrupted her tactical officer, "3 more Earth vessels have just emerged from behind their moon. Readings indicate they're carrying the same weapon system that just struck us." For the first time in her long military career, Zaravek felt a sensation she had never experienced before: fear. The Hegemony had conquered 17 star systems, subjugating dozens of species beneath its rule. Never had they encountered resistance of this magnitude from a supposedly primitive world. Back in Earth's command center, Victor watched as the alien fleet's formation began to waver. "They're regrouping, Admiral," reported Lieutenant Jackson. "Energy readings suggest they're preparing for another attack wave." "Or a retreat," countered Hiroshi, studying the movements closely. "Their formation is shifting toward a defensive posture." The answer came moments later as the alien vessels suddenly accelerated, pulling away from Earth orbit on trajectories that would take them back toward the outer solar system. "They're retreating," confirmed Lieutenant Jackson, unable to keep the astonishment from her voice. A cheer went up around the command center, but Victor raised his hand for silence. "This isn't over. That was just their first wave, a test of our defenses. Sir, called Dr. Wei from his station, we've managed to access some of their communication frequencies. They're transmitting enormous data packets toward the galactic core. I believe they're reporting back to their central command. Victor's expression darkened. Can we intercept any of it? Fragments only. Translation algorithms are working, but it's going to take time. What about tracking their retreat vector? Can we determine where they came from? Lieutenant Jackson nodded. The long-range telescopes on Titan have a lock on them. We should be able to track them for at least 3 light-years before they're out of range. Victor turned to Hiroshi. Prepare the Artemis, the Orion, and the Athena for immediate departure. We're going after them. A hush fell over the command center. Admiral, Hiroshi said carefully, those ships haven't been tested for extended deep space operations. We've never ventured beyond the Kuiper belt. The counteroffensive. The vast emptiness of interstellar space stretched before the Artemis like an endless midnight sea. Admiral Victor Nguyen stood at the command center's viewport, watching as distant stars streaked past, each a potential world, perhaps with its own civilizations, its own stories untold. 6 light-years from Earth and still in pursuit, reported Captain Eliza Rhodes, his executive officer. Her voice carried the mix of exhaustion and exhilaration that had characterized their 3-week chase. The hegemony fleet is maintaining their heading toward the Cygnus Arm. Victor nodded. The pursuit had been relentless, pushing Earth's first interstellar vessels to their limits. The Artemis, Orion, and Athena, humanity's most advanced warships, had performed beyond all expectations, their experimental quantum drives allowing them to match the hegemony's retreat velocity. Any communication from the Orion or Athena? He asked. Both ships report all systems nominal, Eliza replied. Commander Akaffer sends his compliments and reminds you that he's still leading in confirmed hegemony fighter kills. A small smile touched Victor's lips. Even in the vastness of space, the competitive spirit of his officers remained undimmed. Status of Dr. Winter's new targeting system. Final calibrations complete. The quantum entanglement targeting network is fully operational across all 3 vessels. This was the breakthrough that might give Earth's small fleet a fighting chance. Dr. Jasmine Winters, the brilliant physicist who had revolutionized quantum communications, had developed a targeting system that used entangled particles to coordinate weapon strikes across multiple ships. It would allow their 3 vessels to function with the precision of a much larger fleet. Admiral, called Lieutenant Pavel Volkov from the sensor station, his voice suddenly tense. The hegemony fleet is decelerating. They're dropping out of FTL. Victor turned, his expression sharpening. Battle stations. All hands prepare for combat. Notify the Orion and Athena to form up on our flanks. Throughout the massive ship, alert klaxons sounded as crew members rushed to their positions. The Artemis, nearly a kilometer in length, housed over 2,000 of Earth's finest soldiers, scientists, and engineers, all volunteers for this unprecedented mission. The holographic tactical display at the center of the bridge activated, showing the hegemony vessels slowing near a massive stellar construct, a space station of enormous proportions orbiting a blue-white star. Is that their destination? Victor asked, studying the structure. It appears so, confirmed Pavel. The station's energy signature suggests it's a major military installation. We're detecting hundreds of smaller vessels in the vicinity. Victor's jaw tightened. They had followed the hegemony fleet expecting to find a forward base or perhaps a colony world. Instead, they had stumbled upon what appeared to be one of their primary military hubs. Admiral, Eliza said quietly, we're outnumbered at least 20 to 1. Perhaps we should withdraw, return to Earth with this intelligence. Victor shook his head. If we retreat now, we'll lose our element of surprise. The hegemony will mobilize a force large enough to overwhelm Earth's defenses. He studied the tactical display for a moment longer. Besides, I'm counting at least a dozen non-hegemony ship designs docked at that station. I think we've found more than just a military base. Dr. Winters entered the bridge, her normally composed features animated with excitement. "Admiral, we've managed to decrypt more of the hegemony transmissions from the battle at Earth. I think you need to see this immediately." The holographic display shifted, showing translated text scrolling alongside alien script. Victor read quickly, his expression darkening with each line. "So Earth wasn't randomly selected," he said finally. "We're designated as Sanctuary World 7391, one of thousands of planets where the hegemony has been monitoring developing civilizations." "Not just monitoring," Dr. Winters corrected. "According to these files, they've been harvesting technologies, cultural artifacts, and genetic material from Earth for centuries. They maintain similar operations on all their designated sanctuary worlds. And once a civilization reaches a certain technological threshold," Victor continued, "they invade, conquer, and integrate the useful elements into their empire," Dr. Winters finished. "They've been doing this for millennia, Admiral. It's how they've maintained technological superiority." Victor turned back to the tactical display, a new understanding dawning. "So that space station is likely a processing facility for resources taken from conquered worlds," confirmed Dr. Winters. "And based on the non-hegemony vessels we're detecting, I believe it's also where they coordinate subjugated species." A plan began to form in Victor's mind, dangerous, perhaps even reckless, but with potential rewards that far outweighed the risks. "Captain Rhodes, prepare a stealth insertion team. We're going to infiltrate that station." Eliza stared at him. "Sir, with all due respect." "We're not here just to gather intelligence anymore, Captain," Victor interrupted. "We're here to find allies." 12 hours later, Victor led a team of 20 specialists onto the hegemony station using a captured shuttle. Disguised in environmental suits modified to resemble hegemony armor, they navigated through the massive structure, following Dr. Winters' translations of station schematics they'd extracted from hegemony databases. The interior of the station was a testament to alien engineering, vast chambers with architecture that seemed to defy conventional physics, corridors that spiraled through impossible geometries, and everywhere, evidence of multiple species living and working under hegemony control. "There," whispered Commander Diana Chen, the team's tactical specialist, pointing toward a heavily guarded doorway. "According to the schematics, that's the diplomatic sector where representatives from subjugated worlds are housed." Victor nodded. "Team Alpha with me. Team Beta, secure our exit route." They moved silently through the station, their modified hegemony disguises allowing them to pass numerous security checkpoints. When they finally reached the diplomatic sector, they found themselves in a massive atrium filled with representatives from dozens of alien species, some humanoid, others wildly different from any terrestrial life form. "The universal translator should work here," Dr. Winters murmured. "These species have been force-integrated into hegemony society, so they'll all use standardized communication protocols." Victor approached a group of tall, willowy beings with translucent skin that seemed to shift colors with their emotions. Currently, they glowed a dull blue that suggested melancholy or resignation. "I seek audience with those who would oppose hegemony rule," he said simply, removing his helmet to reveal his human features. The aliens recoiled in shock, their skin flashing to vibrant purple. "Human," one of them gasped in accented English. "From Sanctuary World Earth, impossible, your world was scheduled for conquest." "The conquest failed," Victor replied, "and now we've come to offer an alliance to any who would fight for freedom." The news spread through the diplomatic sector like wildfire. Within an hour, Victor found himself addressing representatives from 17 different species, each with their own grievances against hegemony rule. "We have technology you need," explained Nordal, a being whose crystalline exoskeleton refracted light in hypnotic patterns. "But we lack the will to rebel. Our worlds have been under hegemony control for generations." "And we have the will," added Klex, a reptilian being with multifaceted eyes, "but lack the unified purpose. Our worlds have been kept deliberately divided to prevent resistance." Victor listened carefully to each representative, understanding now why the hegemony had survived for so long. They didn't just conquer. They fragmented, isolated, and indoctrinated their subjects, creating an empire built on carefully engineered dependency. Earth stands ready to lead this alliance, he said finally. Not as conquerors, but as equals. Together we can. He was interrupted by alarm klaxons blaring throughout the station. Admiral, Commander Chen's voice came urgently through his comm unit. Our presence has been discovered. Hegemony security forces are mobilizing throughout the station. Victor turned to the gathered representatives. We have ships waiting. Any who wish to join our resistance, come with us now. What followed was chaos, a desperate race through the station's labyrinthine corridors, with representatives from a dozen worlds following the human team. Hegemony security forces converged from all directions, forcing them to fight their way back to the shuttle bay. Admiral, warned Lieutenant Volkov over the comm, the Hegemony fleet is powering up. They're preparing to engage our ships. Initiate Operation Starburst, Victor ordered. Tell the Orion and Athena to begin their attack runs. Outside the station, Earth's 3 warships suddenly accelerated toward the unprepared Hegemony fleet. Using Dr. Winter's quantum entanglement targeting network, they coordinated their attacks with unprecedented precision, striking multiple targets simultaneously before the Hegemony vessels could organize a defense. Meanwhile, Victor's team fought their way to the shuttle bay, their human combat tactics proving surprisingly effective against Hegemony security protocols designed to counter more predictable resistance. They've never faced humans in direct combat, observed Diana Chen as she dispatched another security drone. Their systems are designed to counter logical, consistent attack patterns. And humanity is anything but logical and consistent, Victor replied with grim satisfaction. They reached the shuttle bay just as the station began to shudder from external impacts. Through the massive bay doors, they could see the space battle unfolding, Earth's 3 ships darting between the larger Hegemony vessels, causing disproportionate damage with coordinated precision strikes. Get everyone aboard, Victor ordered as they secured the shuttle. We're leaving. As the overloaded shuttle launched from the bay, narrowly avoiding security vessels, Victor received an urgent communication from the Artemis. Admiral, Captain Rhodes reported, we've identified the Hegemony command vessel. Supreme Leader Kordath is personally directing their fleet. Victor exchanged glances with Dr. Winters. So we've drawn out their leadership. This wasn't part of the plan, she cautioned. Plans evolve, Victor replied. Captain Rhodes target the Hegemony command vessel. All ships execute attack pattern Omega. The 3 Earth vessels abruptly changed formation, converging on the massive Hegemony flagship that hung at the center of their defensive perimeter. Using the quantum entanglement targeting network, they coordinated their attack to strike simultaneously at 13 critical points across the Hegemony vessel. Inside the command shuttle, the alien representatives watched in awe as the human ships outmaneuvered a numerically superior force. How is this possible? Asked Nordal. The Hegemony has ruled space for thousands of years. Because we fight differently, Victor explained. The Hegemony expects obedience, conformity. Humanity thrives on adaptation and unpredictability. The shuttle docked with the Artemis just as the Hegemony flagship erupted in a series of cascading explosions. Without central command, the remaining Hegemony vessels fell into disarray, some retreating while others continued to fight with diminishing effectiveness. Supreme Leader Kordath? Victor asked as he reached the Artemis bridge. Confirmed destroyed, Admiral, reported Captain Rhodes with satisfaction. Victor turned to address the alien representatives who had accompanied them. This is just the beginning. The Hegemony still controls thousands of worlds, including your homeworlds. But today, we've proven they can be defeated. Klex stepped forward, his reptilian features arranged in what might have been a smile. For the first time in 12 generations, my people have hope. We will carry word of this victory to our worlds. And we will provide technical specifications for your defensive systems, added Nortel. Many worlds have technologies the hegemony has suppressed or controlled. Together, we can create defenses they cannot overcome. The next 24 hours were a flurry of diplomatic and strategic planning. Representatives from each species shared knowledge of hegemony weaknesses, patrol routes, and communication protocols. In return, the humans offered their unique tactical approaches and defensive technologies. "We need a name," suggested Eliza Rhodes as they finalized the alliance. "Something to rally behind." "The Liberation Compact," offered Nortel. "A union of free worlds against hegemony rule." Victor nodded his approval. "The Liberation Compact it is." As the Artemis and her sister ships prepared to return to Earth, now accompanied by vessels from 6 formerly subjugated species, Victor stood once more at the viewport, contemplating the stars that had once seemed so distant and unreachable. "Do you think we can really win this war, Admiral?" asked Dr. Winters, joining him at the window. "The hegemony still controls most of the known galaxy." Victor's expression was resolute. "We've already won the most important battle, Doctor. We've broken their myth of invincibility. For thousands of years, they've ruled through fear and the certainty that resistance was futile. Today, we proved otherwise." "And Earth, can we protect it from retaliation?" "With our new allies, yes. But more importantly, we're no longer just defending Earth. We're fighting for every world the hegemony has conquered, every species they've subjugated." As the fleet entered FTL, accelerating toward Earth with news of their unprecedented victory, and the formation of the Liberation Compact, Victor considered the irony of the situation. The hegemony had designated Earth as Sanctuary World 7391, a planet to be monitored, harvested, and eventually conquered when its civilization reached an appropriate level of development. Instead, they had created their own worst nightmare, a species whose entire history had prepared them to resist domination, whose creativity and determination had been forged in the crucible of their own near extinction. Humanity had emerged from the great catastrophes not just united, but with a fierce commitment to their own survival and evolution. The hegemony had wanted to harvest Earth's resources and technology. Now, they would face the full force of human ingenuity turned against them, not alone, but at the head of an alliance of worlds equally determined to win their freedom. The galaxy would never be the same again. In the communications center of the Artemis, messages were already being relayed to distant stars, calls to resistance, promises of support, technical specifications for defense systems that could withstand hegemony attack. The Liberation Compact was spreading like wildfire across subspace channels, igniting hope on worlds where none had existed for generations. And at the center of it all was humanity, a species the hegemony had gravely underestimated. They had seen Earth as just another world to conquer. Instead, they had awakened a force that would reshape the cosmos. The war for galactic freedom had begun.